Joining us now on the podcast is Whitney Bush, affiliate, associate, involved with Canoecopia 2025 and other years. I'll just say it for the record. You're Darren's daughter.
I am.
And I want to talk to you about YouTube and videos in the Boundary Waters, videos on a canoe trip. Let's start right there.
Oh, I mean, it's just the last trip I took to the Boundary Waters was 2 summers ago, and I went with 2 of my best friends that I've been on trips with, and we were looking for a 4th, and I brought a woman that I had become friends with that year, who was sort of just like down to try new things, but was watching videos. She downloaded Netflix videos that she was watching on her phone at night, when we would go to bed. And I was like, this girl doesn't get it. That's not what you do when you're here. And I just took it personally.
Did she have headphones?
No.
So you could hear the sound?
I mean, she watched it pretty quiet. And so it didn't really disturb my experience, but it disturbed me personally. I was like, this shouldn't be allowed. This should be against the Boundary Waters rules.
Right. And did you say anything about it?
I didn't.
I
just let it simmer. I let my rage slowly turn. No, I mean, it's her trip. She's going to do what she's going to do and get what she's going to get out of it. I had my trip, and my trip was great, and I just judged her for how she did hers.
There's this line with phones and gadgets. I mean, we used to talk to Stu Osthoff about this 8 years ago, or a long time ago, in terms of the progression of what a phone does on a trip for a lot of people, including us, which is a camera. First and foremost for a lot of people, capturing some video or audio. And so a phone now is not necessarily the negative thing that it was when we used to talk to Stu about it. Damn kids bringing their phones, that type of narrative.
Yeah.
Because they're useful and they eliminate the heavy camera, all that extra equipment. So it's sort of a versatile tool. But when somebody's downloading things or playing some type of game, unwinding in a way that they might at home, in bed at home, that's the line, I think, where we're at now. And you saw it, you experienced it, and it got to you.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that I love about being in the Boundary Waters is that I'm on airplane mode, right? It's even if I go in on the Ely side where you've got more cell phone service, I'm I don't want that. Part of the beauty of these trips is that you're just totally off the grid and you're disconnected. And I think that if you've never done that before, it's maybe you don't understand how good that feels, or maybe how you do it if you're just so connected to your phone. My mom and I went to the Galapagos Islands a couple of summers ago and did the same thing where I was like, oh, this would be the Boundary Waters. I'm just going to go on airplane mode. I'm going to use my phone to take pictures, and that's it. And there were areas where you could turn your phone on and get reception. And I was like, but no, that's not the point of this. I'm in the Galapagos Islands. I don't want that. I want to be here right now.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And so you, as I said, are Darren Bush's daughter. Darren, anybody that listens to this podcast probably or should know that Darren is the centerpiece in a lot of ways when it comes to human beings, although he always credits other people. Canoecopia, it's Darren, Canoecopia, Rutabaga. They're very involved with the podcast and have been for a long time. We interviewed him before this year's event. Did you always grow up with canoes, paddling as part of just the lifestyle of home and family?
Yeah, I mean, so my dad got into paddling when I was 1 to 2-ish, right? It was when he was doing graduate school in upstate New York and I was a tiny baby, and that's when he sort of was first exposed to paddle sports. And when we came back to Madison and he started working at Rutabaga, it definitely became the through line of our lives, right? Yeah.
And you're living in New York now. You are.
Yes, I am now in New York City. This is my 11th year teaching middle school in Brooklyn.
In the city?
In the city.
What type of school?
So I'm at just a public middle school. I do 7th grade science. I've done a little bit. My license is in special education, but my background is STEM. My mom was a math teacher, so I always loved math. But my undergraduate degree was wildlife and wildlands conservation, and so I knew I wanted to go into teaching once I made that decision and do science and math because there's just a lot of bad science and math teachers out there. And so I've done 6 through 8 different levels of science and math, but I've been doing now just 7th grade science for the last maybe 6 or 7 years. So I really love it.
And what's the scene in the classroom and the school?
I mean, in my classroom, it's a party. No. So it's a really cool school. It's like meant to be sort of like a project-based. We've had relationships with like Outward Bound and EL and things like that. And so I feel like I'm in this like sweet spot where science is not measured and monitored the way that like ELA and math are, right? Where there's like a lot of eyes on math scores and reading scores. And so science, I kind of get to just like teach things that I think the kids will think are cool, as long as I like jump through enough of the like mandated hoops. So like I'm teaching human bodies right now, and I'm supposed to do like from the curriculum, I'm going to do their thing where I like talk about these specific body systems, and their like big interesting thing they think kids will care about is like doping and bike racing, which kids don't really care about. So I'm doing right now like a mini unit all on diseases. So we've learned about the immune system, and we talked about the plague as sort of like the kickoff, like the like hook to the unit. And they do like this cute little play where they like act out this village from 1600s in England where this the guy running the town is like, oh no, the plague's here, nobody can leave, and basically the whole village dies. And so they act that out and start learning about then the real, like how people treated the plague then, what we know now. We just did smallpox and cholera right before I came out for this. And then once we're done, we'll do a mock trial on Typhoid Mary, where we'll learn about like her story in New York, and the kids will kind of, some of them will be prosecution, some of them will be defense lawyers, and we'll decide like, was Mary to blame for everything that happened and all the people that got typhoid, or is it an issue of like what was happening at state and local levels. So
you're not afraid to talk about some dark stuff.
I mean, the 12, like they kind of love
stuff.
it. Yeah. I mean, it's like my goal as a teacher, as a science teacher, is to like get kids curious and to recognize that like they already are scientists, right? If you can look at the world and like ask a question and make a prediction, like you're a scientist. And so like, cause I still at 7th grade will get kids coming in being like, oh, I'm not good at this, right? Like I'm better at theater. And it's like, well, both things can be true at once, right? You can be a scientist and you can also love theater. So I just want them to be like asking good questions and like engaging with the world. And so to do that, like I want them to think about things that they're interested in. So like when we do space, we don't just learn about the planets, right? We do a whole little unit on like why black holes exist. And so we look at, that's how we like start to understand like atomic structure, so they can look at nuclear fusion and the life of a star. And now it's like this thing they've always thought was so cool, they like understand, and they can explain to somebody why a black hole is a black hole.
Nice.
It's fun. I love it. They make me really tired, but I do really love it.
And so where does this land with your passion for paddling? And are you in the East River putting a kayak, or like
I mean,
the
it's on my
harbor?
bucket list to do. You can, if you map out the tides, right, you can circumnavigate Manhattan, which is on my list of things to do while I still live there. I don't do a lot of paddling when I'm in New York because like I've paddled on the Gowanus Canal before, and it kind of just bummed me out because it's like I just am used to these beautiful rivers in the Midwest. And so, but I feel like I have the best of both worlds, where I live in New York City, which is like this hotbed of culture, and I get to see and do so many cool things I never would have imagined, because I never imagined I'd live in New York City. But then I come back to Wisconsin for most of the summer, and I get to like go on Boundary Waters trips, and my family rents a little cabin up in Vilas County. And so we go and it's right on Little Man Lake. And so we go canoeing almost every day and ride our bikes. And so I sort of fill my cup that way, and then I go back again to the city. And hopefully I'll end the year teaching the kids about ecosystems, and we'll talk a lot about salt marshes and the things that are local to us, and hopefully get them invested in protecting the things that I love so much.
At Cascade Vacation Rentals, we believe that being able to reconnect with nature is important for a healthy life. And we know that life has a tendency to be overwhelming at times, and busy schedules often leave people feeling overwhelmed and disconnected. That's why we're here, to offer you the space and opportunity to reconnect to what's important. We have one of the largest selections of privately owned vacation rental homes and cabins on Minnesota's North Shore of Lake Superior. Choose from luxury homes on the Big Lake to quaint cabins on an inland lake. Find your perfect vacation rental home at staycvr.com. And don't forget to use our exclusive Paddle and Portage promo code PADDLE10 to save 10% on your 2025 Northwoods Getaway. at stacyvr.com.
And is a Boundary Waters trip still a part of the summer too, in addition to the cottage?
Yes, this summer. It doesn't happen every summer, but this summer I'm going to be going in August with my mom for the first time since I was like 4. And then my sister-in-law, who's never been, and then a couple other friends of my mom and my sister-in-law's. So.
And is that why have you not paddled with your mom in a while?
I mean, on a trip like this, it's just like logistics. It's never happened, right? I feel like once I started planning Boundary Waters trips again for myself as an adult, the first one might have been in like 2017. And I was just like planning them with my friends, right? And I probably like could have brought my mom along. Like my parents, as anybody who's met them, are like the kind of parents that like adopt everybody, right? My dad literally refers to a lot of my friends as his non-biological daughters. Like he just like, my parents are really good at loving and community, but it wasn't like the trip that I was planning. And so I can't remember exactly how it happened, but we just, my mom and my dad have taken some fall trips and I'm teaching in the fall. So I haven't been able to do that with them, but we were like, let's make it happen. Like, let's do it. So it's going to happen this summer.
And where's the route? What's the permit?
I can't remember. I think we're putting it on Big Sag, but we're not doing, because like both she and I, our favorite loop is to like go in Big Sag and do like Knife and Jasper, Alpine, all of that, and then come out on Seagull. But we're taking some people that are newer to the Boundary Waters, and so I think it's going to be more of a base camp situation. We're going to paddle in and then maybe explore from a camp for a couple days. So it's not as, we didn't have the time that we wanted to take to do that big long route the way we like to do it. So we're doing like an abbreviated version.
I know your mom and dad ran into podcast co-host M. Baxley last September on the Monument Portage. They just happened to run into each other. And so that, I know that that's a family route for you.
Yeah, that's the route we did the summer I turned 4, when my mom was pregnant with my little brother. So that was my first Boundary Waters route. And I don't know if that's why I love it or if it's just because it's so beautiful, but yeah.
Did you ever feel that you wanted to not be involved in paddling, in a way that it would have been such a big part of home, work, lifestyle, that it just was too much and you wanted to like rebel against it?
No, because it just like was so, I just loved it, right? Like growing up, I don't know, when you're a kid and you're like, oh yeah, we always did that. And I'm like, I don't know how often we did it, but we did it enough that it's in my brain. But I remember going over to like Lake Wingra in Madison with my little solo canoe and my dad and probably my mom. And I just feel like it made me so happy. Like I just loved being outside. I've always loved being on the water. Yeah, that like just being even near the water. It's like I might not be paddling in New York, but like I love to just like be near the Hudson or the East River and I live near Prospect Park and I have a little like standing electric scooter is how I get to work in the morning, and I go right by Prospect Park Lake. So it's like I have the water, I just am not like on it during the school year as much.
Does your dad ever dish out to you the gossip about Canoecopia of who's a pain in the ass or who?
Oh yeah. In the whole industry, I know who's more pleasant and who's more competent.
Yeah. And what names would you be?
Oh, no. I'm also a good secret keeper.
Yeah.
So that's why he can tell me everything.
Right. Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. Because this industry is competitive and can be cutthroat. There's a lot of ego involved with just people trying to get into it. We got the best product. I'm the best rider. I'm the best whatever the little niche within the niche is. And at the end of the day, though, when we get to Madison every year, we all come in. It's chaotic. We set up the booths. And then the people come. And it's like, wait, this is what this is all about, is the people. I mean, even this year, we were just kind of like, man, it's the grind of Canoecopia, and there's some weather involved getting over, and just the obstacle of getting here. And then when you're here, and it's Saturday, and the crowd's just rocking, all that goes away. Like, does your dad is that something you experience, your dad? I mean, all these things about Canoecopia that's like so exhausting, but then when you're in it, it's just like, oh yeah, that's what this was all about.
Yeah, I feel like it's so much work for him, right? Like I get tired while I'm here, like helping with things, but all the stuff he does to prep for it, it's always felt worth it. Like not just because it's like mean, mostly because it is this community, right? And he gets to like be reminded of all the things that are so hard about owning a small business. Like the reason he's doing it is because he cares so much about getting people on the water. And here he gets to run into like hundreds of those people that are like, you sold me my first boat, like, or like I did this trip last year because of you. And it's just like a really like healing weekend to be like, yeah, like the people in our lives and the places we can go together is like one of the reasons why we care so much about paddle sports.
Exactly. Where else do you paddle beyond the Boundary Waters?
Beyond the Boundary Waters. I mean, I have like the list of places I really want to paddle. But this summer I'm going to Norway with some friends at the beginning of July. So I'm going to paddle some fjords for the first time, which I'm very excited about. But then also like every winter when I come home for the holidays, my dad and I do a winter canoe paddle on the Sugar River. So it's like, I like the big, I like the small. It really is just like being on the water, especially away from other people, that I really like it.
You had this introduction to it, which was pretty obvious how that manifested in your life. But what about you wanting to introduce other people to it? Is that something that you kind of carried that on as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like anytime you love something, right, you want the people that you love to love it too, or to at least like have the chance to, whether it's like a favorite restaurant or a favorite book. I read a lot of books, and so I'm constantly like, everyone should read this book. But and so because I love canoeing, that it's like the people I love, I want them to like get in a canoe and experience it. Because I think that if you don't do it as a kid, it can feel intimidating. You're like, oh, I don't want to tip over. I don't want to like look foolish. Because as an adult, how often do we do things we've never done before? I feel like a lot of us maybe get really comfortable with the things that we've always done. But it's like, I feel pretty confident in my ability to like teach someone and to like make them comfortable, and so it's fun to like get them on the water and like and have them like see them understand why it's a thing I love so much.
And then when you're introducing someone or there's a newbie and they pull out the phone and they're watching the video, like that's just an illustration, but do you want them to do it your way, or can there be a merge?
Yeah, I mean, I think I often do. I think I think that I don't know. I think that most people think that they do things the right way. And so I'm like, but this is how I think you should do it. But I think that there's probably more ways to do it than I realized, because I've only paddled mostly with my family, so we do things pretty similarly. We're a family that loves to be alone together, so we like all love our solo canoes, you know, but it's like there are people that do want to have a duffer. I'm like, I don't want 3 people in a boat. Like, are you kidding me? But it's like some people, that's how they want to do it. That's how they've always done it. So.
And I think Canoecopia, to like merge those two themes that we've been talking about, which is like canoe and paddling, Canoecopia, and just the passion for paddling and introducing people and bringing in new concepts and so forth. Like the intersection of that is what's going to be the future of this event and this expo. And is there do you talk about that? Like, are you going to be the heir to the Canoecopia?
I am not going to be the heir to Canoecopia.
Is that because you don't want to be, or is that just because that's not in the works? Or
it's not what I would want. I think I could. I think that after you've taught middle school, you can probably do just about anything. And I think that if I cared passionately about like business and running one, like I could be like, Dad, I want to be the next one. I want to take on Rutabaga, but that's not what I want to do. I want to keep teaching science, so that's what I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah, I'm bringing this up because in talking with your dad before the event, and him and I met up in Minneapolis and recorded like a preview, but talked about his legacy in the paddling community and so forth too. Was just like he's acknowledging for the first time in my conversations with him personally or publicly on the podcast, like, yeah, it's Cliff's last year, and there's these sort of people that are moving into another chapter in their life.
Yeah.
That he brought it up for the first time, and so he didn't say what the transition plan is, either because that's not ready to be announced publicly or not. But I wasn't even aware that you were like intricately involved and come into the event every year and so forth. I bet that probably means a lot to your dad that you're here.
Yeah. It does. I mean, we like to be together. We're tight. So I feel really lucky that my parents are not only people that I love, but they're people that I like. And like he's coming out for a weekend in New York in April, like right before his birthday. For Christmas, my mom got him a ticket to come, and I got us tickets to go to the opera to see The Marriage of Figaro, which is like one of his favorite operas. So we like to be together. We like to be together here. But it is, it's a thing we're thinking about more now, especially after his heart attack a couple years ago, that it's like people come to this event that he has orchestrated so beautifully and go to Rutabaga, which is now this beautiful shop, and don't necessarily know just like how much work it is and like how much of his life he's given to it. And so it's like, I really hope that there are things that can live on. Like, I can't imagine a world without Rutabaga. But I also want my dad to live a long, healthy life. That's more important to me.
And does paddling for you and for him remain that outlet that makes this a healthy thing to be involved with? That it's not just the industry.
Yeah.
There's the on the water side of this whole thing.
Yeah, so I mean, like I think he's been trying to do, my mom and him have been doing a better job of getting dates on the calendar at the beginning of the year, that it's like, when are we paddling? Where are we paddling? Like, how are we going to make sure that like we're doing the thing that we love, which is the reason why this has become like our lives.
What's a hard day you've had on the water?
Hard day?
We're talking about all these good things.
Yeah.
What's a hard trip?
The first thing that comes to mind now, it just seems funny, but at the time I'm sure I was really stressed, was 2 trips ago, and I can't even remember where we were because we were on different lakes than we had planned to be on, and there was a bear that wouldn't leave our camp, and it was
in the Boundary Waters.
In the Boundary Waters, yeah. And I like woke up from a nap because I was starting to not feel well. I was feeling a little under the weather, and I was in my hammock, and I woke up to my friend being like, "There's a bear." And I was like, "What? There's not a bear." Like, I haven't seen a bear in years in the Boundary Waters, but this was in 2022 or 2021. It was a year when there had been a lot of fires and not a lot of rain. And so I think that there was not a lot of food. And so the bears were kind of getting closer, and she was definitely like a young, like yearling sort of thing. But like came in, we had our bear barrel, but we didn't have the lid on it because we were all literally right there eating snacks. But she came in and she like chowed through like a whole bag of like Cliff Bar, Power Bar things, and like got into some trail mix, and like my friend shooed her away, but then she just kept coming back and she wouldn't leave. And she like, look, my parents have a very large dog. Lucy is 100 pounds. She's half Great Pyrenees, half Newfoundland. And this bear didn't feel that much bigger to her. So my brain was like, oh, this is not a threat. But I'm like, but this is actually a bear. This is a bear. Like, we can't. And so we had to like wrap up camp and leave. And there were no more campsites. And so we ended up just taking out late that night because we just we didn't know what else to do. It was like, okay, game time decision. I don't think we should go to sleep with this bear right here because like, who knows what they're going to do.
Was that on the Gunflint side?
Yeah, it was on the Gunflint side.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so that seems like it had a negative connection to your mind, or a less than positive at least.
Because I remember it was just like it was a bummer way to end the trip, right? We didn't mean to be taking out yet, and I remember my one friend was really upset because she was like had been really looking forward to the trip and just was like not ready to be off the water. But we were like, we have to go, and there's nowhere else we can go. Every other campsite we went by was full, and so it's also hard to know like how stressful it was then, because now it's just like a funny story about this bear that wouldn't go away. Oh, because the funny part was that the bear had left, and then we had lined up our little like Helinox chairs like on the shore. We're just like looking at the lake. My one friend is like picking up rocks and looking at them. And I think I had made some sort of joke about like the bear just like sitting in line with us. Like, what if the bear was just here hanging? And my friend turns up to show me this rock she's picked out of the lake, and she looks at me and she like has this like the most like astonished look on her face, and I turned around and the bear is like right over my shoulder, just like had come down and was sniffing things out and was like right behind me. And that's when we were like, okay, we probably need to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you report that to the Forest Service or anything?
I don't think we did.
Yeah.
I think we just left.
Right. And went back to Grand Marais and got a room or something?
Yeah. Well, luckily one of my friends we were traveling with had family that lived in Grand Marais at the time. And so we just like camped out in their living room for the night. But yeah, it was wild.
Have you ever capsized in the Boundary Waters or on a river or anything?
I honestly can't remember the last time I've capsized in a canoe. I've capsized in my sea kayak on Lake Michigan when I've been like not as diligent as I should be, or if I'm distracted. And I remember once I was paddling with a girl that I had been teaching when she was like a young kid, and I was just trying to like get her like more comfortable, and I don't know what I did, and the next thing I knew I was upside down. But yeah, I haven't. On Big Sag, I've had a couple moments where I'm like, these are some big waves, and the friends I'm with are not as experienced, but now I try to just put in early enough in the morning that it's not as windy.
Okay. Interesting. And are you doing Lake Superior stuff? Was that part of the family routine?
I love Lake Superior, and I did an Apostle Islands trip with my dad in 2011, so it's been a minute, but it's just like there's not enough time to do all the things. So it hasn't happened in a while, but I do love it up there.
Mm-hmm. So you'll be back this summer. You're going to be off in Scandinavian, Norway.
In Norway, and then I'll be back here, yeah.
And then you'll be doing a Boundary Waters trip in some point
in August.
In August,
yeah.
Okay, so you got some good stuff on the books for this summer.
Yes.
And Canoecopia rolls on.
It does.
Another successful year, a milestone year in some regard with Cliff's last presentation, and it sort of set this marker in time of perhaps a transition of some sort for either a new era of paddlers and people and presentations that are going to be happening at the event. There's a vibe in the air this year, and I know with the Canadian situation and tariffs and all these things that kind of have shifted some of the pleasantries of the event, the conversations.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting year, and we were reflecting last night about it. It's been a really good year, even with all that stuff going on.
Yeah, and I think that because when things feel hard and crazy and like uncertain, like being in community is what makes it feel better. And so like being in a place like this where people care so much about each other and about the sport and about the lands, that like rallying together like feels more empowering than being alone and being scared about what's going to happen.
Whitney, it's been a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you. And
You as well.
Thanks for making some time on the podcast.
Yeah, of course.